Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for coming by and checking out what I have going on. In the last one, we did a ton of work on the Comanche. We got those door hinge reinforcement plates fully welded in and completed. I couldn't be happier with how they turned out, and I'm super grateful for all the welding practice I was able to get in. Adjusting those welder settings makes the world of difference in how those welds look and how everything performs as you're welding those in. So if you missed that one, I put a link down in the description so you can go check that out. All right, so in this one, we're gonna be putting a hold on all of the Comanche progress. Me and my wife, we're moving to a new house, so we have tons of stuff going on. The whole inside of the house is full of boxes. So instead of starting another huge fabrication project on the Comanche, I have an upgrade for the XJ. So we're gonna install the best anti-theft device that you can get, which is a removable steering wheel. So what I have here is a removable steering wheel kit from Genrite Off-Road. This is their TJ, LJ, and XJ, of course, kit, and it is beautifully crafted. The fitment's gonna be perfect. It also comes with the option of getting a steering wheel through them, which I opted for the PRP leather steering wheel. This thing is going to look awesome in the Cherokee. Plus, it's the perfect anti-theft device, and you can't go wrong with this kit. Anyways, I'm going to get the XJ pulled in, and we'll get to installing this. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do first is I'm going to get the quick release hub installed on the new steering wheel. I was reading over the instructions that came with it from Genrite, and I'm not seeing any torque specs for the quick release hub bolts here. So what I'm going to do is I will put some blue Loctite on it and make sure they're nice and tight, and it should be good to go. Anyway, so while I'm doing this, if you're new here on the channel, welcome. Thank you for coming by and checking out what I have going on. Be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and comment down below what you think of the channel, what you think of this video. I'm super active in the comments, so I'm always down to chat, talk about Jeep stuff. But anyways, thank you for coming by. It really means a lot to me. Okay, so I ended up running into a little bit of a snag here. So the removable steering wheel hub came with these screws here. So these are pretty short, and when I went to mount the steering wheel, they don't go all the way through far enough to have enough thread engagement. So I'll put a picture up on the screen of exactly how that looks. So I started digging through the PRP box, and I found these screws here. I was like, oh, perfect, I have the right screws. So these screws are actually metric. These are M5 screws, and they will not thread into here because this is a standard number 10 with a 32 thread pitch. So yeah, so those screws definitely aren't going to work. And then it also had these like cap screws. These are a number 10 screw, but they're ugly and way too long. So I went and picked up some different screws to match what the hub came with, and these are the right length. So now we can get all this fully installed. All right, so now that the new steering wheel and the quick release hub are bolted together, I'm going to get to removing the steering wheel and the airbag and everything here. Always remember to disconnect the battery before you're messing with your airbags. You don't want to have anything weird happen while you're doing this. But anyways, it's pretty straightforward, so I'm going to get right into it. Okay, so I fully finished up the steering column modifications. I got this drilled and tapped. It was actually pretty challenging to drill and tap this. The metal that this steering column is made out of is pretty hard. So it's definitely important to use some kind of cutting oil so you don't burn up your drill bit and so that tap doesn't bind up too much. And then tapping it took quite a while just because the tap kept clogging. So you have to take the tap in and out a bunch of times and clean it as you go. But it turned out nice. The hole's centered and the threads look good. I even mocked up the piece that bolts to this for the quick release steering wheel just to make sure everything is clearing. So talking about the adapter piece here that bolts to the steering column. So I ended up needing to do some modifications to this. So if you see these tabs here on the top, these tabs are used to turn off the turn signals after you're done turning. So I noticed that when this is splined onto the steering column, those tabs were pinned right up against the column. So I was afraid of when tightening the bolt, it would just bind up this whole steering wheel and you wouldn't be able to turn. So what I ended up doing is I just trimmed them down and made sure that they're still going to contact the turn signals to turn them off. And it should prevent there from being any binding. So what we need to do now is get this all fully installed, and we'll be able to see for the first time all of this installed and see how it all works. Yo, this thing is super sick. I'm so excited to have this in here. I'm also really glad that I painted it black as well. It all blends together real nicely. And man, you can't beat that look. So it works real well. Everything's all bolted up, torqued down. And there it is, no steering wheel. But next up is we need to address something that is kind of important to have. So since you get rid of your horn buttons, we need to wire in a horn switch. So I've been trying to decide where I want to put a horn switch. I was contemplating putting it down here by the rear wiper switch, or maybe on this side by the defroster. But I think I decided I want to put it right here. So I think I want to put a horn switch right here. So I bought a flush mount horn button off Amazon. I'll put a link down in the description for this, but it should look pretty nice, like just right here in this area. And it's pretty easy to get to with your thumb while you're driving. So that's what I'm going to do. We'll get this all wired up. It should be pretty straightforward. I just need the power wire that's underneath the cover here and then to ground it. And then the switch will ground the circuit for the horn to work. Anyways, let's get to wiring this up. Okay, so I got all of the wiring sorted out. It was kind of a pain. The wiring that came with the switch, there was a little diagram on it, and it took a little bit to figure out how to get that to work. So I just used my voltmeter and checked continuity across the pins to figure out which pins I needed to use. And then I looked up a wiring diagram for the 96 Cherokee, and it is the red and black wire out of the connector that goes to the clock spring. So I spliced into that and then ran a wire to ground, and now everything works as it should. So we should just be able to connect the trim all back up, and that should wrap up the install. All right, so I got everything fully put back together. So one thing with the horn button, I originally wanted to put it here so when you were in the driver's seat, you could see the horn. But what I found out is inside here, this module for the turn signal, if I was to put it here, it would interfere and I wouldn't be able to have any room for the wiring inside. So I ended up putting it in on the side here. I also took a washer, drilled the washer out, and then I made a larger hole in the trim piece, so I had some adjustment up and down so I could position it right in the right spot because there's just enough room for it to fit in there. Anyways, I got everything all buttoned up and it's looking pretty cool. All right, so that's gonna wrap it up for this one. So that install was super easy on that steering wheel. Takes a little bit to figure out the wiring, but I got it done. Anyways, it's gonna be nice to have that anti-theft device installed, especially when I'm out on the trail or I go somewhere where the Jeep's gonna sit overnight. I can take that steering wheel inside and know that the Jeep's gonna be fine. Anyways, in the next one, we're gonna continue working on the Cherokee. I have some other upgrades and it's gonna get a little scientific, so stay tuned for that one. Anyways, get out there in your garages, get out there on the trails, explore, build stuff that's cool, and don't forget to be safe out there. We'll catch you next time.